Good evening. Tonight I'm going to tell you another strange and unusual story of the unexplainable from behind the veil. Ever since man was first able to think, he has tried to find reasons for those happenings that he has been unable to explain. Yet even today, with the knowledge of our universe which we have amassed, despite the myths that we have exploded, there are still areas about which we know nothing. The world beyond our understanding, the world behind the veil. Our story tonight concerns the dark and violent circumstances surrounding one of the most famous criminals in history. George Durst was a normal citizen of his time, a man completely average in all respects but one.
I knew it. Tucked away down at the bottom of the page. Mr. Walter Durst will give the last of his lectures on clairvoyance tonight at the Cumberland Hall.
What?
The advertisement. So discreet it's practically invisible.
I thought it was quite tasteful.
I wish you would let me deal with that side of the business. You have no head for publicity.
I had such an odd dream last night.
Not black horses again. I couldn't stand another funeral.
It was most frightening. I wish I knew what it meant.
Good heavens, they've discovered petroleum in Cheshire.
Judith, please listen to me.
Walter, I am sorry. I didn't realize you were so upset.
Last night, Judith, do you really believe I somehow have an ability to see into the future?
Good heavens, dear, we know you do. I mean, some people are left-handed, others have perfect pitch.
It's happened
and you
before, hasn't it? Time after time. The fire in the hotel at Bournemouth, the diphtheria epidemic.
Walter, what is it?
Judith, last night I saw murder done.
Why must it happen to me? Why not to someone who understands these things? I don't want it.
Now, Walter, don't be so foolish. We have to make a living, dear, and I'm not sure that you'll be very good at anything else.
I was so frightened last night.
Then why didn't you wake me?
You were so sound asleep I didn't like to. Just after I went to sleep, a most odd feeling, as though something were trying to get inside my head, something pushing and probing, and then an odd sound like nothing I'd ever heard before, and then the picture. Misty at first, the buildings all blurred, and then all at once it came quite clear. I was walking along a darkened alley in the East End. There was no sound. I could hear nothing but my own breathing. I wanted to save the woman, and at the same time I knew I couldn't stand to see what was happening. Suddenly I found myself outside some horrible drinking house. I remember hearing the ticking of a clock. I knew it was important to see the time. My body floated as though it were no more than mist, and the light at the corner of the lane seemed to draw me to it. I felt as if something were guiding me, begging me to look up at the street sign. Bucks Row. I saw it quite clearly, and yet I'd never even heard of the place before. I wish I knew what it all meant.
Darling, why should it mean anything? It's probably just an ordinary old nightmare after all that lobster you had last night.
No, there was such purpose to it, almost as though I'd been made to see it for some reason.
In the early hours of this morning, Timothy Durrant, a cart driver, was returning to his lodgings in Whitechapel when he saw what he thought was a tarpaulin lying in the gutter. Crossed the road for a closer look, only to discover that it was a woman lying there. A lighted match revealed that her throat had been cut. The body has been identified as that of Mary Nichols, 42, a woman of unfortunate reputation, who had last been seen alive but very drunk just before 2:30. The police surgeon has stated that in addition to the throat wounds which caused death, the body had been almost completely...
Does it say where it happened?
Yes. The body was found in Bucks Row. The doctor also stated that, in his opinion, the crime had been committed by somebody With considerable knowledge of surgery.
Yes, the surgeon's knife, the scalpel.
And moreover, it was the same person who brutally murdered Martha Turner 3 weeks ago on the night of August the 7th. An inquest is being held.
All the details.
Walter, you've got to go to the police.
The police?
There can't be any motive for killing these terrible women, so the man is probably mad. Don't you see there may be more murders?
And more dreams.
Walter, think what it would mean if you could go to the police and tell them exactly when and where the next killing would be.
No, I won't have any part of it. It's nothing to do with me.
Walter, that is a disgraceful attitude. The seeing of justice done isn't merely the business of the police. It's the responsibility of every member of the community. Why, it might mean the saving of countless young lives.
Oh, they were hardly young.
Walter, it is your duty to go to the police.
All right. I suppose you're right. As usual.
And, darling, think of the publicity.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning. I want to see someone about the Whitechapel murders.
Oh, what connection?
Well, it's rather a personal matter. I prefer to see whoever's in charge of the case.
Right, a name, sir? Clairvoyant.
Yes?
You're new, aren't you?
I beg your pardon?
You haven't been in before.
No.
Well, Inspector McWilliams in charge of the case. I'll tell him you're here. Perhaps if you don't mind waiting a while.
I mean, all those people
A
have...
lot of money, sir. Brought them all out today. Gypsy Jim, One-Arm Nell, and the old lady with the crystal ball. She can tell us the identity of Jack the Ripper for a mere £50.
Jack the Ripper?
Well, that's what the newspapers have tagged him. Oh, we have them all, sir, especially on a case like this.
But, Constable, I assure you I didn't come here because of any reward. Last night in a dream, I saw the exact circumstances of the Bucks Row murder. Several hours before it occurred. The time, the place, everything.
Now, sir, you look a nice, sensible sort of gent. You know, the wife had the same trouble. Wake me up in the middle of the night, she would, just to tell me about these here dreams, so I got her some stuff called slumber pills. Only a cheap medicine, you know, but efficacious. Very efficacious. Never had any more trouble with her since.
Thank you, Constable. I assure you'll have no more trouble with me either. Good morning.
Emily, don't lag behind. I wish to see someone about Jack the Ripper. My little girl has some information I know will prove invaluable.
Have a seat,
It
Mama.
happened yesterday afternoon during my usual Tuesday sales. Emily was in rapport with Liate, her little Aztec friend, when suddenly there was a swirl of orange ectoplasm. A ghastly grinning face appeared.
Charlatans! Charlatans!
The city of millions, once teeming with life after dark, now becomes silent and deserted with the setting of the sun. Children are off the streets with the beginning of nightfall. Women go nowhere unless accompanied by their men. Doors are locked, windows boarded up. London becomes a city of panicking individuals, no man trusting his neighbor or friend. Newspapers demand in their boldest type the apprehension of this mad killer. The rewards mount. Every available police officer is on duty. Groups of men, self-appointed vigilante committees, hunt through dark streets and back alleys. But to no avail. The man they seek might well have been a ghost.
Look at my hand. Look. It happened again. Quite suddenly. I saw the body. He'd cut an ear off. It was lying in the gutter. I picked it up. You see, the blood's still on my hand.
Walt.
No, I won't wipe it off. They can see it at Scotland Yard. It's a manifestation. They'll have to believe me.
Walter, it's your blood. You must have
What?
dug your nails into the palm.
No. I saw it, though. There was a red flower in her dress. And she had a bunch of grapes, and she was still clutching the bunch of grapes.
My dear, you must eat something before you go.
Go? Where? Oh, no, not the police. They'd only laugh at me again.
Then we'll have our dinner and they can laugh at both of us if they want to. I'm coming with you this time.
First, please, thank you. 2 pennies. Yes, madam. First, please.
I think I've got some pennies. Change at Oxford Circus and take... What?
He's here. I can feel it. Somewhere quite near.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Jack the Ripper. He's here on this bus. Jack the Ripper. He's here on this bus.
Where?
I don't know, but I can feel the vibrations. It's the same man, the man in the dream.
Regent's Park.
Walter, are you certain?
Of course.
Then we must do something. Try to find him.
It's vanishing. It's fading away.
Regent's Park.
Walter, quickly.
What is Rugent? No, Judith. It's madness. It's too dangerous.
There, going into the park. Walter, don't stop me. Which way did he go?
I don't know. I can't feel it anymore.
Well, try. Concentrate. You must.
No use. He's gone. It just isn't there.
Oh, he's so close.
Well, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Besides, it would have been madness. Now, I think we ought to go and tell the police.
Tell them what?
Why, that Jack the Ripper's in the park. They might close the gates.
Walter, sometimes I despair of you. Come on, we're going to Scotland Yard.
Oh, I didn't expect to see you here again, sir.
I want to see Inspector McWilliam, isn't it?
He's busy. We're trying to find someone called Jack the Ripper. Perhaps you've read about it.
The constable.
Walter, let me. Constable, today is the 30th of September.
It is?
And it may be remembered as the day that Jack the Ripper committed his 4th murder. That is, if you just stand there and do nothing to prevent it.
Ma'am, I had my orders, that's all.
But please, you must let me see the inspector now. This afternoon, I had a vision of a murder that I know is going to take place tonight. You must understand, we can stop it, otherwise the blood will be on my hands as much as...
Walter.
So a woman will be found dead tomorrow, with her ear severed from the head.
What did you say?
I saw it in the dream. The ear was lying beside her in the gutter.
Constable, this way, ma'am.
I'm Inspector McWilliam. What's all this about a dream?
My name is Walter Durst. I'm a professional clairvoyant. Perhaps my card will do.
And what did you dream?
Well, I imagined I was walking along a lane in the East End. There was a woman. Her throat had been cut, and the ear was lying beside her in the gutter. It's not the first time, you see. The night that Mary Nichols was killed, I saw it just as it happened. The time, the place.
When did you send the note?
What?
The note you received this morning.
Oh, I haven't sent any note. I have been here before. The constable will tell you.
I'd like a specimen of your handwriting. Sit down, Mr. Durst, will you?
Oh, I don't see what my handwriting's got to do with it.
Please write.
Well, what shall I write?
Just 3 words. Dear old boss.
Dear old boss. I wish you'd explain.
Mr. Durst, you didn't by any chance dream the location of this murder?
No, not this time, but I'm sure
What do you mean, not this time?
Well, I told you, the other dream, the night that Mary Nichols was killed.
But you didn't write to us last time.
I don't know what you're talking about. Then you must believe me, Inspector. I told you that I saw it.
No one knew of this letter except the men in my office and the man who wrote the letter. Did you write this letter?
No, I didn't write it. I didn't. Judith! Judith!
You will be kept in custody until we can make further investigations in the morning.
Please let me go. Don't you see what you're doing?
Listen up. Come on.
But the woman, I saw what he did to her. You couldn't tell it was a human face. You could save her.
Perhaps I have.
Please. Please let me help you.
Aye, Constable.
Well, then, God help you. What time is it?
Are you still awake?
The time, please. They took my watch away.
Oh, I don't know. It's a bit after 1. You'd better get some shut-eye.
Not this night. Tell Inspector McWilliam to have a good night's rest. Tomorrow he may not sleep quite so easily.
All right. They want to see you at the yard. Can you hear me?
God forgive them. Forgive them. So it happened. And it was in your power to save that life.
2 lives. 2 women murdered within an hour. One in a yard at the back of Berners Street, the other in an archway off Mitre Square. Both of them hacked to pieces. You were right in every detail. Every man available was on duty in the East End last night. And every suspect we had was under lock and key. It's impossible. Yet it happened. It's impossible.
But you knew. How?
That's a question I've been asking myself all my life, Inspector. Perhaps the answer will come later.
I trust, sir, that you will accept my apologies for what happened last night.
Inspector, I owe you my supreme gratitude. This was no imprisonment. It was a release. Until last night, I've been afraid of this gift I have. Ashamed because I was not quite normal. My wife had to have my courage and my convictions for me. Now I know this power was given to me for a purpose. Respect must be paid to it, and to me.
I wish to heaven I'd believed you last night. Should you dream again, of course I shall act immediately.
We can act now.
Walter, last night?
No, this was no dream. But I can find Jack the Ripper. Probably tonight.
This time I shan't even ask how. Every policeman in London is at your disposal.
And that won't be necessary. Shall we meet at my house at 7 o'clock?
At 7.
This is where the Ripper lives.
G.R. Willardon, FRCS.
Do we knock?
I don't know. I don't think we can wake them at this late hour.
This is where he lives.
It's incredible. A large house in Harley Street, FRCS.
Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons. Inspector, there's a dog lying at the foot of the stairs.
Seems to be light on, sir.
Hagen. Hagen, be quiet. Stop barking.
Yes, what is it?
We're from Scotland Yard. I'd like to speak to Mr. Willardon.
Who is it?
Mrs. Willardon?
Yes?
I'm Chief Inspector McWilliam, Mr. Durst. I'm sorry to disturb you so late, but we should like to ask you a few questions.
I must ask you to leave. It is very late.
Mrs. Willardon, this concerns the Whitechapel murders. It would be very easy for me to get a search warrant.
The police?
Mr. Willardon?
No. My name is Hatherley. I'm Mrs. Willardon's doctor. May I ask the reason for this visit?
I would like to see Mr. Willardon.
That's impossible.
Will you come into the library, gentlemen?
All right, Constable.
The funeral is tomorrow.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Willardon. When did this happen, Doctor?
Cerebral hemorrhage late yesterday afternoon. you can understand why Mrs. Willardon is very distressed.
I should like to see inside.
Inspector, this is outrageous. I insist you take your men and leave this house instantly.
Did you sign the death certificate, Doctor?
I did.
May I see it, please?
It's not here, it's at my surgery.
Why did you come here?
We have reason to believe that your husband knew something about the Whitechapel murders.
Why?
I am not at liberty to say.
You think he's Jack the Ripper?
Mrs. Willardon, I'm here to ask questions, not make accusations.
This is a strange...
Did you notice anything unusual about your husband's behavior these last few weeks?
Mr. Willardon has been ill for some...
I'm talking to Mrs. Willardon. Will you please answer my question?
You know, don't you? You know.
Myra.
Of course they know. Don't be such a fool. Why else would they have come here? They followed him. They saw the blood.
Blood?
Mrs. Willardon is hysterical, you understand?
What blood?
He was wearing his new coattails, wasn't he? I was standing on the stairs when he came in. Blood. All over his white waistcoat.
Myra, I beg you.
It doesn't matter now. I don't want the secret any longer.
Why didn't you tell the police?
He was my husband. I loved him very much once. He was so gentle then. Seems quite a long time ago when he had to give up the practice. It was terrible seeing the change in him. I wonder what made him do those things. One day I heard Pagan screaming down here in the library. He wasn't allowed in here at all. When I came in, he was sitting just over there, biting at his paw. There was a hatpin right through it. He used to love the dog so much, too. And there were the bats. You know that he paid boys off the street to catch bats for him. They'd bring them in a bag to the back door. I saw once what he did with them. He dipped them in paraffin and lit them, so that he could see the poor burning things go flapping round his head, and he'd clap his hands and laugh like a child. Then at night, he began to go out.
So, the funeral is tomorrow?
Yes, to all intents and purposes. The obituary notice has appeared in the Times, and a few relatives have been invited to a simple service in the morning.
Where is he, Doctor? A certificate of insanity?
Yes, Willardon was sent this morning to an insane asylum outside Edinburgh.
May I keep this?
You will find it registered and in order. You realize what this means?
Yes, of course.
Yes, once certified and committed to an institution, a person is beyond the jurisdiction of the courts. Not even the law can touch Willardon, no.
Well, there's nothing more we can do.
No, it's better. We should never know. And now, if you'll excuse us, Inspector, it has been an agonizing ordeal for Mrs. Willardon, and she has to rise early in the morning for the funeral.
Inspector, is it a terrible thing to hope there will be more murders in Whitechapel?
Dr. Willardon was beyond the reach of English law. His guilt or innocence could never be proved. But strangely enough, the slaughter in Whitechapel ended that night. Jack the Ripper never claimed another victim. But what of Walter Durst? How does one explain his gift of precognition, his ability to foretell the future? How could he foresee in such detail the victims and the circumstances surrounding their deaths? He'd never seen any of the women involved. He'd never even been to the places where they met their death. And most of all, how was he able to lead the police to a man he did not even know existed? There is no explanation known to us, but this we do know. On that night, over 70 years ago, ended a reign of terror unlike any known before or since. Please join me again for another journey into the world of the unexplainable, which lies behind the veil. Good night. Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to tell you another strange and unusual story of the unexplainable, which lies behind the veil. Tonight's story was developed from a report contained in the files of the Gloucester Historical Society. Like many others which I have come across in the course of my research, it involves happenings of which we've long been aware, but for which there are no satisfactory explanations. Captain John Elwood of Gloucester, Massachusetts, had been a long time at sea, but his first thoughts were not of his wife and his home. If they had been, perhaps none of this would have happened.
Come in. Here's the log, Captain. Everything's in order, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Elwood.
The crew's anxious to leave, sir. Most of their wives are waiting for them on the wharf.
Indeed. The way they're behaving, you'd think we were months overdue instead of just 2 weeks.
They've likely heard of our trouble with the snakes, sir. Happy to see us alive.
Well, just the same, they'll grab their men by the ears and march them off to the paymaster before they start to kiss them.
Ah, sir, some. There are all kinds among them.
Is Mrs. Elwood out there?
Oh, no, sir. The captain's wife is too well-bred to show her emotions in public.
Indeed. I want you to do something for me, Mr. Logan. I have to go to the company's office to make my report. Will you see that my gear's taken straight to my house?
I'll do it myself, sir.
That's very kind of you. Tell Mrs. Elwood that I'm fine and be with her presently.
Aye, aye, sir.
Just put it anywhere here, Mr. Logan. I do appreciate your coming. I was so worried, what with the hurricane and reports of the plague.
Oh, it wasn't the plague, ma'am.
Oh?
Well, just a lot of poisonous snakes that came aboard while we were in Florida.
There was talk that some of the men died.
Aye, 2 seamen. 3 others were bitten, but we saved them.
It must have been a terrible experience.
We were finding snakes, ma'am, all over the ship 2 weeks after leaving the wharf.
Did the captain say how long he'd be?
No, ma'am. Just said to tell you that he'd be along. Presently.
Well, best be getting his dinner.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Logan.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Good to be back, Barney. This place is more like home to me than my own house.
Hey, we missed you, John.
What's been happening while I was away?
Oh, now, let me see. The Clarawell foundered 2 weeks ago off the coast. Nobody lost. The packet from England was late again, as usual. I think that's about all. Things have been fairly quiet. See, how about those snakes, John? When are you going to tell us about them?
As soon as I get something to wash the salt out of my throat.
Oh, yes.
Bessie!
Coming! Coming!
And all of a sudden, there they were, slithering up the lines and the gangplanks like so many fiends of hell. There's hundreds of them, somebody yelled. See that they pay their passage before they come aboard, I said. Hi there, my pretty. You're the one I've missed the most since I went away.
You ought to be ashamed, taking such liberties, and you a married man.
Well, if I weren't married, would you still object?
Ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no lie. Afternoon, Mrs. Elwood.
Good afternoon. I'd like a bottle of that Spanish wine that Captain Elwood favors. I think he'd enjoy it with his dinner.
Be supper, more'n likely, ma'am. Club's having dinner in his honor. But I'll get it for you.
Nobody would have been hurt, but some of the fools tried stamping on the snakes with their bare feet. Excuse me, gentlemen. Are you by any chance spying on me?
No, John. I only came...
I know why you came. Go home and expect me when you see me. You may charge the spoilage to me, Captain Barney. My apologies, gentlemen. Shall we go home now, dear? You humiliate me in front of my friends. You spy on me.
I'll never do it again. But I wasn't spying, I swear it. I only wanted to get a bottle of wine for your dinner.
And the table, was that part of your affection?
I don't know what came over me. John, all the time you were gone, I missed you so. I prayed for you. And when you turned your back on me, I wanted to strike out and hurt you as I was hurt. I'm so ashamed.
Well, you should be. I'm sick of your explanations, sick of your apologies. I'm sick of you, Ruth.
No, John. Leave me something.
Ever since I married you, I've been trapped. And for what? The price of a ship that went to the bottom 3 months after I bought her.
You needn't have said that. I knew why you married me. I knew my father's money made up for the fact that you didn't think I was gay and amusing like the other girls were. I knew my friends were laughing at me because they knew why you married. It made no difference. I loved you. I still love you.
Oh, you're talking nonsense.
No, John. Please hear me out.
Let it alone, woman. You're digging up things that are best forgotten.
No, I couldn't bear it if it were only the money. There had to be something else. John, maybe it's not too late. Maybe we could start all over.
Oh, Ruth.
John, I'm drying up into a bitter old woman. Help me. Please. I'll unpack your things.
What's the matter?
A snake! It ain't get me!
What?
John?
It's all right, Ruth.
The snake.
He's dead. I killed him. So I've taken care of your hand, and the doctor will be here soon. I don't think we'll need him, though. I'm sure I got all the poison out.
You saved my life.
Well, there wasn't much else I could do.
You could have let me die. Why didn't you?
Don't be foolish.
But you could have. And if you had, you'd be free. No more arguments. No more trouble. You could do as you pleased. But you didn't. You saved my life. Oh, John, maybe we can start all over. Maybe.
Try to get some rest, Ruth. I'll get you something warm to drink.
It's a lucky thing you were home, John. Snake bite's a terrible way to die.
Well, she's much better now, and the doctor says for the little rest she'll be just as good as new.
You're thankful for that, I'll wager.
Oh, I can't wait to sail again. Always more trouble ashore than when you're at sea. And I can't make any money just sitting here, much as I like it.
Speaking of money, here's something that'll make you sit up and take notice. The widow Smith got a letter from London this morning. Seems an uncle died and left her £20,000.
£20,000?
Hey, he'd be a lucky man that gets her.
He could buy any ship in the harbor with that.
Too bad you're already married, John. You know, I always had a sneaking suspicion that she was partial to you. Well, drink up and let's have another one on the house. Hey, you're not still thinking of that money, are you?
Oh.
It won't do you any good. You got one wife too many. Come on, have another drink.
Oh, thank you, Barney. I don't think I will. I'm going to get back to Ruth. Ruth?
Yes, dear?
I've been thinking over what you said. Maybe what happened this afternoon is a sign for both of us. We will make a fresh start.
Oh.
By Harry, I'm going to take you with me on the next voyage. I'll fix it all up with the owners in the morning.
Oh, John, I love you for the thought. Are you sure you want me to come along?
Why, of course I do. Oh, I've been very selfish about the whole thing. Seeing new places, doing new things, and you've just been left alone here in this old house. No wonder you were unhappy.
No, it's not that at all. I love our house.
Well, you want to come with me, don't you?
Yes, of course I do. But I warn you, I'm not very good on boats.
Huh?
I get sick.
Oh, nonsense. Couple of days at sea and you'll be just like a regular old sailor. Besides, I want you to come.
John, you won't be sorry. From now on, things will be different.
Yes. From now on, things will be different. Have the carpenter repair the afterdeck ladder before somebody breaks his neck.
Aye, sir.
How are you feeling, Ruth?
I'm much better, John.
Good.
I'm better.
Good. The cook's made you some more of his special tea. Another calm day like this and you'll be completely well.
I didn't mean to be such a burden to you, John. You've been very patient with me.
Oh, nonsense. I should have brought you before. You've no idea what a comfort you've been. No idea how lonely a captain's life is.
I should like to be with you as often as you'll let me.
So you shall, my dear. Don't let your tea get cold.
You know, I dozed for a while and I had the strangest dream.
Oh, I hope it was a good one.
Yes. I dreamt this was our old ship. And instead of cotton, there was money in the hold.
Well, I couldn't improve on that myself.
We were so happy in the days when we had money, John. I find I'm thinking of them more and more since we left home. But when I'm well, things will be different, John. You'll see.
Yes.
Yours.
You're not very well. You'd better come and lie down and get some rest.
I didn't mean to get sick, John.
All right.
I didn't want to get sick. I'm such a burden to you. I should have stayed home. I should have stayed at home.
Try to get some sleep.
You asked me to see you after my watch, sir.
Yes, I did, Mr. Logan. Frankly, I'm very worried about my wife's illness. You've always been handy around the sick, and, well, frankly, I thought maybe two heads be better than one.
Yes, sir.
I wondered if you'd take a look at Mrs. Elwood, too.
I'd be glad to do anything for the missus, sir, if I can.
Good. First, I thought it was cholera.
No, sir. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Well, if she's not better in a few days, we'll lay a course for St. Augustine.
Aye, sir.
And you'll enter a full report in the log, won't you?
I will, Captain. I do hope she's better soon.
Thank you, Mr. Logan.
Are we to St. Augustine, John?
We hit some rough weather during the night. Slowed us up.
Rough weather? I didn't even feel it.
You were unconscious, I'm afraid.
We must get there soon, John.
We will, dear, we will. Now try to get some rest. I have to go up on the bridge.
Captain Elwood. Sir, we're way off our course to St. Augustine. If we don't turn now, we'll...
I'm well aware of our position, Mr. Logan. My order stands. We stay on course for Jamaica.
But I looked at Mrs. Elwood yesterday, sir. She won't last that long.
My wife and this ship are my responsibilities. She'll be alive when we get to Jamaica, I warrant.
As you say, sir.
Get back in there.
Liar. You want me dead. Mr. Logan. Mr. Logan.
You had enough poison to kill two people. You might as well know it now. I wanted you dead, and now you will be.
You're an evil man, John Elwood. And you'll be repaid with evil. You... Oh.
John, you can't spend the rest of your life in mourning. You got too many good years ahead of you.
I miss her, Barney.
Oh, of course you do. It's only natural, but you've got to start thinking of yourself. Ruth wouldn't want you to become a hermit.
It's lonely without her.
But at your age, that can't last forever. The widow Smith has been visiting you, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been very kind. She knows what it means to lose someone you love.
She's a fine woman, John. I think she's got her eye on you.
Oh, nonsense, Barney. I'd never think...
Oh, I'll give you a year. Nobody expects you to wait longer. And, John, it's time you got out of the house now.
Think so?
I do. We're having supper tonight in honor of a new member. Your old first mate, Logan. You've got to come, John. He'll be expecting you.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm giving you orders. Now stop acting like a lost puppy.
All right, Barney, if you say so.
I do, sincerely. Now it's time for me to get back to the club.
Why, Captain Logan, congratulations and welcome to the club.
Thank you, Captain.
I haven't seen you since the inquest. I feel I owe you an apology. You were right and I was wrong. I should have changed course for St. Augustine when you wanted me to.
Makes no difference. Now.
But it might have, and you were trying so hard to help her, you almost gave me the impression at times that you thought I wanted her to die.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, the food is on the table, gentlemen. Clumsy wench!
I didn't do it, sir. I didn't.
You're the only one in this room?
I didn't touch it, sir. I swear I didn't touch it. Look. It's exactly the same as when Mrs. Elwood did it. 'Twas a ghost, sir. 'Twas a ghost that did it, sir.
Stop that nonsense! 1,000 pardons, Captain. Give us 10 minutes, and in the meantime, the drinks are on the house. Now, get out, both of you. You may come in now, gentlemen. Twas the girl did it, gentlemen. Saints preserve us. 'Twas her ghost. Her ghost.
No. You fools, are you frightened by a superstitious servant girl? Barney Logan, help me, I'll show you it's nothing. You're behind this, Logan. You're trying to trick me.
Trick you into what, Captain?
You think I killed her. You're trying to trick me into saying that I did. No, I didn't. I swear I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Captain Elwood, I think you'd better leave. Aye, he finally got a ship, if you could call it that. No other master would sail her around the harbor. She leaked like a sieve, and her crew, well, I wouldn't sail with them across a mill pond. But 'twas all Elwood could get, so he took her.
Captain Barney. Gentlemen, have you heard? It's the Coberly.
That's Elwood's ship.
Aye, her crew's just been brought into the harbor.
What happened?
Nobody knows. They say that the weather was fair and the sea was calm, and suddenly she just broke up.
But her crew was saved.
Aye. All of them, all except Captain Elwood.
It's retribution. The devil has claimed his own.
Gentlemen, the food is on the table.
The law demands an eye for an eye. He who takes a life must be prepared to forfeit his own. But the law is man-made, and when there is no proof, the law is helpless. Captain Elwood never came to trial. Nevertheless, he was found guilty and executed. Who was his executioner? We may never know. But an unseen force that can overturn a heavy table is not to be reckoned with lightly. Please join me again for another journey into the world of the unexplainable, which lies behind the veil. Good night. Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to tell you another strange and unusual story of the unexplainable, which lies behind the veil. Our story concerns the Haney family. For over 200 years, a Haney had worked this same land. Now it belonged to John and Emma Haney. Everything considered, it had been a good life, uneventful, perhaps even dull, but it suited them. For over 40 years, they had lived in the same house, and for those 40 years, the land had been good to them. Its abundance had fed them and clothed them, and helped to raise two sons, John Jr. and James. This was home. They couldn't be happy anyplace else. Their only desire was to spend the rest of the time remaining to them here. Here where they had come so many years ago as man and wife. Simple, down-to-earth people. The Haneys were not given to flights of fancy. But who is not awed and troubled in the presence of death?
Yes, John? John?
All right, I'm coming. Jamie.
Well, you're going to keep me out here all night?
No. Come in, Jamie. Hi, Ma.
Jamie. Oh, Jamie.
You've changed, Johnny. Still not having any fun, are you?
Being on a farm by yourself doesn't leave much time for fun, Jamie.
John's been working awful hard, Jamie.
He would. Old, dependable John.
Let me fix you something to eat.
No, thanks, Ma. I eat in town.
Some coffee, then, and a piece of pie?
All right. Just a small piece, Ma.
I knew you'd get here in time, Jamie. Pa's been asking and asking for you.
He has, huh? Probably wants to whale the tar out of me.
Oh, Jamie.
All right, Ma. Guess I might as well see him.
Yeah, might as well, Jamie. No use making the trip for nothing, is there?
John!
He's all right. Take his feet, Jamie. We'll get him back to bed.
Pa? Pa, it's me, Jamie. Pa? What'd you say, Pa?
Did he make much sense?
No, just mumbling.
He's been like that for 2 days now.
He knew you, Jamie. I know he did.
Sure. Sure he did, Ma. Let's go downstairs.
Go on, Johnny. I'll be down in a minute.
How'd it happen?
His horse stumbled and fell on him.
How old as he is, you'd think he'd have more sense.
Jamie, where have you been all this time?
All over. New York, Chicago, San Francisco. Kept moving.
For 10 years?
Well, you know me, Johnny boy.
I'm a little surprised you came back.
Johnny.
Why shouldn't I? Oh, I get it. You're still sore because I took off and you had to stay here and do the work. Well, you could have gotten out, too.
And who'd have run the farm? Or did you forget that Pa was too old even then?
All right, so hate me. But don't forget, I was only 17 years old. How much was I supposed to know?
You knew enough to steal every cent Pa had in the house.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
No, let him get it off his chest. So that's it, huh? So that's what's been griping you all these years. Well, let me tell you something. I didn't steal anything. That money belonged to me.
It did, huh? Just how do you figure that, Jamie?
You know how I figure it. Ever since I was 10 years old, Pa had me doing the work of a hired hand. Only I never got the money a hand would get. Only my food and your hand-me-down clothes. He owed me that money.
And how about me, Jamie? What was I doing all those years you were working your poor little fingers to the bone? I was having a picnic, huh?
That's your problem, Johnny boy. If you had any gumption, you'd have beaten me to the cash box.
Enough! I won't have any more of this in my house. You ought to be ashamed, both of you. Your father's dying right over your heads. You stand there fighting like animals. Jamie, I'm going to fix up your old room. When you're finished, you march yourself upstairs and go to bed. And you, Johnny, not another word. Remember, you're brothers. You just don't understand what gets into you.
Here, Ma, let me help you.
Thank you.
Tell me the truth, Jamie. Just for once. Why did you come back?
You never were very bright, were you, Johnny? All right, I'll tell you. Your telegram got to me at the right time. I'm broke. And I figured in 10 years the old man had enough time to build up another pile.
You make me sick to my guts, Jamie.
You should be standing here. Take a look at yourself, Johnny. You're only 3 years older than I am, and anybody would take you to be my father. You should be sick.
You outsmarted yourself this time, Jamie. You made the trip for nothing. Pa dies, you don't get a dime.
I'll fix something to eat.
Nothing for me, thank you, Emma. Just wanted to see if there's anything I could do. Maybe some delay in settling the estate on account of your father not leaving a will.
He did leave a will, Mr. Atterbury.
That's funny. I was his lawyer. I didn't draw it. Oh, he drew it himself. May I see it?
Yes, sir.
Leaves everything to you, Johnny. Knowing that as head of the family, you will take care of your mother and young brother.
Johnny, I'm so glad.
Wait a minute. Let me see that.
Seems legal. Should save us quite a bit of time.
Not legal enough. I'm afraid I have a big surprise for you, Johnny boy.
What's this?
Read it.
To my youngest son, James, I leave all my worldly possessions and trust that he will provide for his mother as long as she lives, and it is my hope that he will do what is fair for my eldest son, his brother, John Jr.
Then which is the legal one?
Yours is dated August the 8th, 1892. Jamie's dated July 14th, 1898. Jamie's the one that'll stand up in court. Can't imagine what he was thinking about. 2 wills.
John knew what he was doing.
I know what he was thinking. You knew his temper, Mr. Atterbury. Pa and me had a real knockdown and drag out of my wanting to enlist for Cuba. He said I'd be sorry if I went. Well?
Why all the sour faces? Ma has nothing to worry about. And you know I'll take care of you, Johnny boy.
Uh-huh. I'm sure you will, Jamie.
Mr. Atterbury, how long will it take for all the legal stuff to clear up?
What's your hurry, Jamie?
Well, I thought I'd put the farm on the market as soon as I can.
Jamie, you're not going to sell the farm. It's our home.
Oh, now, Ma. You know I'm not cut out to be a farmer. Besides, we ought to get a good price for it right about now.
But, Jamie...
Where'll Ma go, Jamie?
Don't worry about that. I'll take care of her.
Where, Jamie?
Well, you always wanted to visit Aunt Martha in Kansas. Now's your chance.
Oh, but, Jamie, that was only for a visit. I can't imagine living any place but here.
When she gets back from a visit, what then, Jamie?
Well, Ma deserves a rest. You know, at her age, she ought to take it easy. I thought we'd get her a room for her at Mrs. Chalmers.
That's nothing but a home for old folks.
You'd like it, Ma. You wouldn't have to work anymore, and there'd be people your own age to talk to. You know what I mean, Johnny.
Sure. I know what you mean, Jamie. To get her off your hands for the rest of your life, you'd like her to sit on a porch and rot.
That's what I get for being a nice fella. Well, this is my farm. Pa left it to me, and I'll do what I like. If Ma don't do what I want, okay, you can take care of her.
What are you doing?
Johnny!
Stop it, you two.
You hit me, you won't get a cent.
Johnny, stop! Listen to me. Jamie's right. I have been working too hard. I'm tired. You know I want to see Martha again, and when I come back, I'd like to live at Mrs. Chalmers. I think it'd be very nice.
All right, Ma. I'll be good. Mr. Atterbury, how do we go about breaking that will?
I wouldn't try that, Johnny.
Well, I don't know, Johnny. Father was of sound mind when he wrote it.
Well, how about the part about taking care of Ma? You call throwing her into a home taking care of her? You know Pa didn't mean that.
Well, there could be a chance of stopping the sale of the farm or preventing the dissipation of the assets during your mother's lifetime.
Don't you worry about Ma. I'll take care of her. You just mind your own business. Now, I'll tell you something. Get out of my house.
Jamie, he's your brother.
Then why don't he act it? He's been beating on me ever since I got here. You heard him. Now, this is my house, and I want you out of here.
Johnny, he's upset. Maybe for a little while, till he cools off.
Will you take the case, Mr. Atterbury?
Yes, Johnny. I'll take it.
All right, Jamie. I'll get out of your house. For now. Have your fun while you can.
In the matter of the estate of George Haney, petition for order confirming sale of real property of the estate.
Ready for petitioner, Your Honor.
Ready for the contestant, Your Honor.
Very well, gentlemen, you may proceed.
May it please the court. All of the statutory facts necessary for the court's approval of the sale are alleged in the verified petition of Mr. James Haney, the duly appointed executor of the estate. The estate consists entirely of the farm which is being sold, and the price offered exceeds the appraised value. It is to the best interest of the estate to convert the real property into cash, since the executor is without funds with which to support his mother, or himself, or to meet the expenses of the administration of this estate.
Start earning.
Your Honor.
Perhaps we can shorten the issues. Do you propose to introduce evidence that the sales price is too low?
No, Your Honor. It's our position. It's not necessary for the sale of this farm at all. Haney family have worked this property for 40 years with profit. It's Emma Haney's home. The source of her care and comfort. That's what John Haney meant to say in his will. What is your own personal reason for trying to void your father's will?
I have none.
Oh, in other words, then, if this court should declare the will invalid, you'd make no attempt to share in your father's estate?
No, sir, I would not.
Then why has this case been brought to trial in the first place?
I just want to make sure that my mother gets what's rightfully hers.
Well, now, the wording of the will's quite plain. Your brother James is to take care of your mother. Have you any doubts that he will?
I sure do.
Would you tell the court what your doubts are?
Because I know Jamie. I know how he thinks. He's a liar and a thief.
Objection. Sustained. Mr. Haney, I must warn you that this court will not tolerate name-calling. Another outburst like that, and I will cite you for contempt.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No further questions.
Mr. Blow?
No questions.
Now, it's now nearly noon. This court will adjourn until 2:30 o'clock.
I gotta run, Ma. I got a date with a customer for the farm.
Jamie, do you have to sell?
Yes, I have to. Now, don't you start on me, Ma. I had enough trouble with Johnny. I'll pick you up in time for court.
Johnny, you shouldn't be here. If Jamie sees you...
It's all right, Ma. I waited for him to leave. I won't be long. I just want to get some of my things.
Please hurry. I don't want any more trouble.
Pa!
Johnny, look in Genesis 27.
What? What'd you say, Pa?
Genesis 27.
What about Genesis 27, Pa?
Johnny?
Yeah, Ma, what is it?
Johnny, who are you talking to?
Nobody, Ma. Nobody.
I thought I heard voices. Are you all right, Johnny?
Yeah, Ma. I'll be down in a minute, Ma. Pa. Pa.
Okay, you're ready. That's good, Ma.
Yes, Jamie, I don't want to be late.
We're not in that much of a hurry.
Please, Jamie, I want to get there on time.
Okay.
Ma! Ma!
Johnny just came to get his things.
You got what you came for?
I got more than I came for. I just talked to Pa. You what? You're right, Ma. You did hear voices.
What's going on here?
I talked to Pa, and he said, look in Genesis 27.
Genesis 27?
That's the story of Jacob and Esau, where Jacob stole his brother's birthright.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's what I'm going to find out. Where's the Bible?
Everything in this house is mine. Keep your hands out of there.
Get away from me.
Jamie! Stop!
I warned him, Ma. What's the matter, Johnny? Nothing in it? What'd you expect to find, a new will? There is no other will. And I'll tell you something else. The next time I find you in here, even Ma ain't gonna stop me from putting a load of buckshot in you. Now get out of my house and stay out.
Please go, Johnny.
Johnny boy, might as well take Genesis 27 with you. That's all you're gonna get.
Mr. Haney, much has been made of the fact that you wish to sell your farm and place your mother in what has been called an old folks' home. Would you tell the court exactly what it is you had in mind?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, my mother's worked hard all her life. As long as I can remember, she's been cooking, sewing, washing. Why, she even helped in the fields when we were short-handed. Up until now, we've never been able to do anything about it. But now I can, and I want to.
Ma, is this the family Bible?
Isn't it obvious, Mr. Haney?
Didn't we used to have another one?
Yes, your father.
Where is it, Ma?
I don't know, Johnny. In the attic, I expect.
His mother, and whose only wish is to see that the rest of her days are happy ones.
Mr. Blue, are you making your summation, or do you intend to question your witness any further?
No further questions.
Mr. Atterbury?
I beg the court's indulgence. The matter which has a bearing on this issue requires investigation. Might we recess until tomorrow?
I don't believe that will be necessary, Mr. Atterbury. I have heard enough and am prepared to rule. However, I will delay my ruling until noon tomorrow. If within that time you have anything to bring to the court's attention, I will receive it. In Mr. Blue's presence, of course. This court stands adjourned.
Ready, Ma?
If Jamie catches you in that house, he may figure he has every right to shoot you.
I don't care. Pa wasn't the kind to play practical jokes. I saw him as plain as I see you.
Johnny! What if Jamie should see you?
I'm sorry, Ma.
Jonas, you know he shouldn't be here.
I know, Emma. He's just as stubborn as his father.
Where's Jamie?
I think he's in his room. I don't want any more trouble.
I don't plan on causing any more. But I'm going to have one more look around whether he likes it or not.
What are you looking for?
He's got some idea his father may have left another will.
That Bible passage, Ma. Genesis 27. Isaac couldn't do anything about his sons, but I think Pa did.
No, Johnny, I'm not going to let you stay.
You can't stop me, Ma. I'm going to have one more look.
Yeah.
Johnny!
Never mind, Emma. Let him go. Let him take his look. Then maybe we can get him out of here before Jamie sees him.
What are you doing here? So you figure the same way, huh, Jamie? What'd you find?
Nothing, and I told you to stay out of here.
What are you scared of, Jamie? What are you hiding?
Stay away from me! I told you to stay out of here!
I'm going to give him a couple of more minutes and then...
They'll hang you.
Johnny! Johnny! Johnny!
The Bible. He's got it.
I, John Haney, hereby bequeath... You were right, Johnny. There was another will. Of a later date. Leaving everything to you. This'll stand up in court tomorrow. The reappearance of John Haney is not unique. Over the years, many such instances have been reported and documented. In fact, the event on which tonight's story is based was directly responsible for a ruling by a court of law, the only one of its kind in our legal history. Jonas Atterbury knew his law. The newfound will was presented in court the next day and accepted without delay as valid. In leaving his estate to his eldest son, John Haney had chosen wisely. John Jr. was not a vindictive man. James was given an equitable share of the estate and departed for parts unknown. And Emma Haney was content in the knowledge that the rest of her life would be spent in the home that she loved. More than that, she knew that when she died, she would rest beside her loved ones, undisturbed. For to John Haney, Jr., the land was a sacred trust, not to be passed from hand to hand, but held for his children and his children's children. Science does not as yet know all that happens to us after life leaves our bodies. But we cannot say with certainty that there is no explanation of what you have just seen. We can only assume that there may well be one. Please join me again for another journey into the world of the unexplainable that lies behind the veil. Good night. Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to tell you another strange and unusual story of the unexplainable which lies behind the veil. Down through the ages, man has continually struggled to pierce the veil behind which lies the unbelievable. Many things which were completely beyond our comprehension as recently as 100 years ago are readily understood today. Maybe not then assume that happenings for which we have no explanation now will in time be understood by those who follow after us. Our story tonight is again based on an actual account from this dark world which lies beyond our knowledge. Edward Page, like almost everybody else in New York, was not concerned with anything more profound than the ever-present, oppressive summer heat.
evening, Mrs. Foley. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Page. Oh, it's awful hot, ain't it?
The humidity, Mrs. Foley. That's what's bothering you, the humidity.
Maybe, but this heat ain't doing me much good either. Probably gone to put on soup for his supper again. Always hot soup. Oh, in weather like this, too.
Don't do that. It's murder. I saw a man kill a woman.
Where?
Apartment across the way, third floor back on the corner. I gotta get the police.
Murder? Police?
Sure that's the right apartment?
I'm positive, Lieutenant. It's empty. The woman, she isn't here.
Maybe it's the wrong apartment, huh?
No, it's the right one. There's my room right opposite this window.
Look around you, Page. There's no body, no sign of a crime.
I don't care. It happened. I know I saw it, but I don't know what happened to the furniture. Please, Sergeant, I know I saw it. The woman was blonde. She was brushing her hair. It was very pretty. She fell right over there. The killer was hiding right there. He wore shiny black leather gloves, and he had this flashlight, and he came up behind her, and... I know what you're thinking. You don't want to believe me, but I'm not lying. I know I saw it.
Sure, you saw it. But now we gotta figure out what happened. Let's go over to your room. There must be some mistake.
There's no mistake. While you're doing all this, the killer's getting away. I can describe him for you exactly. With a description, you could catch him.
You charge him with what?
Murder and robbery. He robbed her purse and he took the jewelry out of the box. It was right there. Her purse was on the couch.
Let's go back to your place, huh? We'll leave the lights on in here so we're sure we get the right apartment.
That's the one. See where you left the light on? That's where I saw the woman. She had on a pale blue dressing gown. Please, Lieutenant Davis, say you believe me. Say that I really saw what I saw.
Mr. Page, it's been a hot day. Now, you were tired, what, with just coming home from work and all? You heard what the janitor at the apartment house said. No blonde. And nobody in that apartment for the past month, it's for rent.
I saw it.
You didn't eat your dinner. Lots of times I get lightheaded when I'm real hungry. Now, why don't you be a good fellow and sit down and finish your dinner and you'll forget all about it. You'll feel better. We better get back.
What about a report? Do we make one up?
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to. Just say that, it's been a hot day, blame it on the heat.
It's not the heat, I saw it. If you won't believe me, I'll find someone who will.
down, Mr. Page.
What's going on here? What are you doing to Mr. Page?
Tell him, Mrs. Foley. Tell him that I saw the murder, that I really saw it.
But I didn't see it.
Let me go. I got to tell someone about the murder. Find someone who'll believe me.
You better come along with us, Mr. Page. We'll talk it over.
I beg your pardon. I'm trying to find the apartment that's for rent. 345 48th Street.
Oh, it's in the next block, honey. Right back of this building.
Thanks so much.
In the next block, she wants an apartment.
Now tell me the whole story, right from the beginning, everything that you can remember. I'll record it.
All right, sir. I came...
Not so close to the microphone, just as though you were talking to me.
Yes, sir. Well, I came home with my groceries. Soup. I always have soup. I like soup. And Mrs. Foley that's my landlady. She was sitting on the front steps. She looked awful. She always does. Well, she complained of the heat. And then I ran out of the room to get the police.
That's all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Page, you have an amazing eye for detail and the most retentive memory.
Doctor, when it's murder, you see, you remember.
You keep on using the word murder. Now, how do you know the woman was dead? She was hit on the head, that's true, but she might only have been unconscious.
She must have been dead. He hit her hard. It was a flashlight. Doctor, when can I get out of here?
I'll send you home as soon as possible. What sort of work do you do?
Well, I'm just a shipping clerk. But they count on me. I keep track of things. Mr. Wonder, he's my boss, says I have a fine memory, like you said.
You can go back to your room now, Mr. Page. And you won't need any more sedation. Send Lieutenant Davis and Sergeant Fenton in.
Morning, Doctor.
Morning.
Lieutenant, Sergeant.
Page come out of it yet?
I'm afraid Page isn't going to come out of it, as you call it.
Well, that's too bad. He's a nice little guy.
Nothing for him to come out of. He's as sane as you and I.
Wait a minute, Doc. Suppose you speak for yourself.
There's no form of dementia that I've ever seen or studied. I'm convinced that Page saw something real.
I've been around a long time, Doc. Some guys sit around looking in other people's windows. Well, they see quite a bit. But most of it isn't murder.
Page didn't seem like that kind of man. He was worried and scared by what he saw.
I don't think he's that kind of man either.
Page is an oddball. He doesn't add up. Everything says he's honest. But he tells us a story we can't believe.
We'll keep him here a little longer. I'll run some tests on him. I've never seen a case like this before.
That's your worry, Doctor. Ours is over. We go on the facts, and there aren't any in this case.
Doctor, what am I going to do?
Try to forget it. Go home. Go back to your job.
I guess that's the only thing to do. If you can't tell me what I saw, how can I figure it out?
Davis, homicide. Go ahead. Now, what's the address? Would you mind repeating that address, please? What's the apartment number? Hey, we're on our way.
What's the matter, Lieutenant?
That murder Page told us about just happened.
Dr. Mason, please.
Blue dressing gown. She was brushing her hair. It's real pretty, too. Fell right there.
Well, Dr. Mason, this is Sergeant Fenton. Lieutenant Davis would like to know when Page was released. Oh, I see. He was released over 3 hours ago.
I want him picked up fast. 2 African masks over the fireplace.
Sergeant Fenton.
Hang up.
I'll call you right back.
He just came in and turned on the light. Go over there and get him. Tell him nothing but bring him back here.
Lieutenant?
Hey, Doc.
Hot night. Miserable weather. Good looking woman. Usual blunt instrument.
How about a flashlight? Ever hear of a murderer describing his crime to the police before he commits it?
Sure thing. Makes a killer a big man. Dare you to catch me kind of thing.
I wish this were that simple. The only trouble is he described the furniture in here ahead of time. There was no way he could have seen it.
Sound like you need some salt tablets. This heat's murder. Yeah, there's nothing I can do.
I'll send the boys up.
It happened. Just like I told you.
That's right, Page. Just like you told us.
Everything's the way I saw it.
You left the hospital 3 hours ago. Did you come right straight here?
I walked for quite a while. I just got home.
I don't mean that. I meant here, this apartment.
Why would I come here?
Nobody believed you when you told us the story about the murder. It's upset you, made you mad. You decided you're going to show us. You came home, you saw the apartment was rented, so you came over here and you killed her.
No, I didn't come over here.
Page, why don't you make things easy for everybody? We both know you can't see a killing, and then suddenly 3 days later it happens.
But it did. I described the killer for you.
And the killer is you. Quit stalling. Why don't you admit what you did? Tell us what you did with the flashlight and the gloves you used.
Lieutenant Davis, these bills, they're for this furniture. From 3 different stores.
Sergeant, let's stick to what we're doing. There's no other answer. Paige, you killed her.
But Paige described this furniture before the woman even bought it. And she was in Chicago 3 days ago. She's never been in New York before in her life. How could Paige have described her?
I'm willing to admit I can't explain how he could describe the furniture or the woman. But I do know how he had a chance to come over here and kill her.
But I didn't, Lieutenant. I didn't kill her.
If we don't all keep calm around here, I'm the one that's going to wind up in Bellevue. Let's face it, Paige.
You could have prevented all this. If you guarded the apartment, you might have saved her life.
Nevertheless, you're still my #1 suspect.
I saw the killer. That means you can find him. I gave you a description.
I know I have. But it's not enough. Let's get out of here.
Nothing, Sergeant. Nothing so far.
It's a tough job looking through all those pictures, Mr. Page.
You get so they all look alike.
Stay with it.
It's a pretty good description you got out of him, Doc. Better than I could do.
Very few witnesses have the power of observation that Mr. Page has.
I'll say that for him. He saw plenty. It's still not enough.
How about the way the crime was committed, the nature of it?
Oh, it's pretty standard. Look for an open door, rap on the head, take the valuables. A dime a dozen. It's the smart ones we nail. The ones that figure out their own clever way to commit a crime. Well, if that's all the help you can give us, I guess it'll have to do. Let's see how they're doing in there.
That might be. The face might be the same. I don't know. The nose isn't the same. Up there at the bridge, the killer's nose was flatter.
That's Ben Burton.
He's out of circulation. He's got 5 years to serve before parole.
I don't think it's any use.
Of course it's some use. A woman's been murdered here. Let's start all over again.
Now, gentlemen, please relax. Now, there's a very good idea. Let's all have a cup of coffee, and perhaps it'll clear our thinking. Now, Mr. Page, you've been most cooperative, but if we could help you to remember just one more thing.
All right, Doctor.
When you saw him hit her, what did you do?
I hollered. No, don't do that.
Did he hear you?
Well, no, he couldn't hear me because the window was closed and his ear... Wait a minute. His ear, his left ear, it was, what do you call it? Prize fighters have them.
Cauliflower ear?
That's it, his left ear, he had one.
That does it. That's what I need, something to work on. Come on, Fenton, we'll get out the new description. This time we'll add a cauliflower left ear.
Well, Mr. Page, I think you can go home now.
I'd rather not. I couldn't sleep now. Not until the job's finished. I need to talk to that man.
It may be some time before the police can find him.
I'll wait a while. It'll be easier. You see, Dr. Mason, you want to know what this is about because you're a psychiatrist. I have to know just to be able to live with myself. Actually found a man who...
He matches your description exactly. Everything is the same.
You see?
As soon as Lieutenant Davis sends for us, he wants to question him first. We're holding you as a surprise to force him into confessing. You see, actually, we have nothing on him except your testimony. We have to prove that he killed that man.
Of course. When we go in, don't say anything about it.
Not saying it before it happened? Don't worry.
Like I said, cop, I don't know what you're talking about. Either book me or turn me loose. You won't hang it on me with a witness. You need more than that, and you know it. You'll need the stuff that was stolen and maybe even the weapon the guy used.
Yeah, you're right. I need all of that. And you're going to tell me where it is.
Okay, so stop talking and show me. Bring on your witness. Let's see what you've got.
Don't go away.
Don't worry. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
That's him. That's the man.
That's him. That's the man.
Sit down, Kerwin.
See? See the ear?
Tell him, Page. Tell him what he did.
He knows. But he doesn't believe I saw him, is that it?
That's it, Dad. I think you're a liar, looking for a big charge or something.
You wore shiny black leather gloves, dark gray pants, and a dark blue shirt. No hat. You hid behind the chair when the woman came into the room. She was blonde and very pretty. She wore a blue dressing gown, light blue. You had a flashlight in your hand. You hit her and she fell. The hairbrush fell, too. You turned and took the jewelry out of the jewelry box, stuffed it in your pocket, went over to the couch, emptied her purse, and you left.
It's a frame-up. Nobody see me do anything. You're trying to scare me. This guy's a fake. You brought him in just to work on me.
The arm. When he put his left arm around her neck, she bit him. That's why he rubbed his arm. Maybe the bite mark's still there.
Roll up the sleeve, Ed. It's there. I know. You didn't mean to kill her.
Well, she caught me in the room. I couldn't get out.
Take him away, Fenton. Try to forget it, huh, Page? Go back to work and stop thinking about it.
Are you going to stop thinking about it, Lieutenant?
No, I guess not.
Edward Page returned to work 2 days later, but he was not, nor would he ever be, the same man who left work such a short time before. Page's experience was an example of what is defined as precognition, the ability to foresee the future. Throughout history, there have been many such instances, reported and documented. How does it happen? Why? I'm afraid the explanation is still beyond our understanding, at least for the moment. Please join me again for another journey into that real but unexplainable world which lies behind the veil. Good night.